The generosity, support, and encouragement and friendliness I have gotten from you folks is almost overwhelming, and I sure do appreciate it. Thank you so very much for being a part of this. Hey gang, welcome back to Mark's 60 plus fitness journey. So I just turned 62 years old, so I wanted to take this opportunity to put together a little summary or recap of what I did workout wise during my entirety of my 61st year. So I sorted through all of the hours and hours and hours of recordings that I did last year and put together what I was hoping was a brief overview and summary. Turns out it's a little longer than I hoped, but a little brief summary of what I did last year. And in it, I mentioned my 5-day workout program. So I'm going to put a link up here to my 5-day workout program and my 4-day workout program. So with that, let's go do a little recap of my 61st year and see what I did. Let's go do it. I guess as good a place as any to start reviewing this 62-year-old's 61st year of workouts is to start out with talking about my strength regimen I was using earlier on in the year. And one of the components of the strength regimen was squats. And I did hundreds and hundreds of squats this year. And early on, I was using a 3 sets of 5 reps approach and linear progression type thing. And I have since modified that to a more moderate 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps, focusing more on depth and quality of squat rather than the amount of weight I'm squatting. And I think I've gotten way more out of it. And I'm certainly glad I've incorporated squats this year. It has worked wonders. And the second element of my strength regimen was deadlifts. This is my first deadlift session right there in January. I made some pretty good progress on deadlifts early on, but this is an example of where a little less is better than a little more. I think I kind of edged over to doing too much in the deadlifts, and I kind of got a hip ding, and I haven't done deadlifts in a few weeks, but I am going to start incorporating them again, but again in a more moderate fashion, 10 to 12 reps, lighter weight, focusing on form. But I do think they're important to keep in my regimen. The third exercise in my strength program is overhead presses. Overhead presses are my nemesis. I've never been a strong overhead presser, but these things have made a world of difference, I believe, in the roundness of my shoulders and my traps, believe it or not. So hundreds and hundreds of overhead presses. And if you know me at all, have been following me at all, you know I love pull-ups. I've done thousands of pull-ups, or I did thousands of pull-ups last year. I always, or 95% of the time, include pull-ups in my back day. I start with pull-ups, and I try to do a total of 50 to 60 reps of pull-ups before I jump into my back workout. Just physiologically, the way my body is, pull-ups work well for me. I get a lot of development out of them, and I will always include pull-ups because I love them. And push-ups. I have always included push-ups in my workout in some form or another. And generally, obviously, this is on chest day. And this is a good example of where a lot of times the dogma doesn't necessarily apply. And in this case, I use a wider grip or wider stance rather than a more narrow one, which is the one that's proscribed by most folks. But for me, the closer my hands are together, the more it hurts my shoulders and the less pec involvement I get. So I do them in a wider stance. And there's some examples of my various forms and shapes of push-ups. And again, this I find very effective. I do this as a finishing movement on my chest day. And over 500 miles walked this year for Mr. Mark. I love walking. I find it therapeutic and effective. It's just plain good for me. Now let's get into my actual workouts. Then I'm gonna review my 5-day workout plan, and we're gonna start out with day one of chest day. Just happened to start with chest day. You saw some machine work there, some machine incline, some cable work. I've incorporated a lot more cable work lately in my chest workout. Incline dumbbell work. I do a lot of incline work on my chest day to focus more on my upper pecs. That's always been a little problematic for me, so I do a lot of incline work early on in my chest day. And I started incorporating bench presses this year too. I was making really good progress until I had a little pec tear, but that's fully recovered, and bench presses are now back in my chest day repertoire. And here's an example of a machine that I always kind of poo-pooed, the Smith machine, but I find this very effective, in particular for this incline movement here. So Smith machines will be included in my workouts henceforth. And back day, actually this is like the fourth element of my strength program, rowing. But again, I've gone from the 3 sets of 5 approach to a more moderate 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps on my rows. This is a couple of examples of rows. The first one you saw there was kind of a Pendley type row. This one's more of a more conventional type row that we're more used to seeing. Rows come in a lot of different shapes and sizes, and I really struggled with getting my rows in a format that I could use, and I think that one right there is my most effective for me. And machine work. These hammer strength machines are pretty effective for me. I like this one in particular because I get such a good stretch at the top there, and some good lat engagement as well. And the good old T-bar machine, I use this mostly to work on my back thickness and the rhomboid area. A couple of different hand positions on that machine make it convenient to hit more lats in one way or back thickness in another. It's another variation of a row using a hammer strength machine. This one here I love as well too, because you can see how many different grips you can get on that thing. I love that machine for back thickness. And of course, I'm going to include some cable work in my back day. The old conventional lat pull downs, and I like to, on these, make sure I get a really good contraction at the bottom. Been working on that. And just an example of a seated lat pull using a wide bar. One of the many variations of my back day. But my back workout has been working out just fine. And good old leg day. Now, of course, squats are included in my leg day. And I'll usually do squats first. And then I'll follow that up with some leg presses. Again, if you've been following me, you know I love these leg presses. This machine is one of my favorites. And this particular hack squat machine we have at our gym, I do this in a couple of different ways, facing forward as you see here, or backwards. And then another variation is the normal conventional facing forward way. I find this movement very effective. It's kind of a finishing movement on leg day. And the last 6 months or so, really put a lot of emphasis on my hamstring work. I am going to include some Romanian deadlifts too, to get a little more hamstring posterior work done. And another version of a hack squat machine here. Again, this is a nice machine as a finishing movement with some leg extensions, for example, maybe. And shoulder day. Again, overhead presses. So usually I'll start overhead presses with a barbell like that, or dumbbells. They'll do those first on my shoulder day, get the heavy work in. And then I usually go really heavy with, when I say heavy, I do a lot of raises, lateral raises, front raises, rear delt raises, a lot of shoulder raises that are high rep. I believe these movements are much more effective for me when I do 15 to 20 reps on these. Just a little seated version. There's my belt that was stolen from me this year. That was another development over the year. I want my belt back. That was a good belt. And I started incorporating shrugs this year too, some heavy shrugs. And I think that's been very effective for my traps as well. And I like them. I like shrugs. All right, so let's wrap this thing up, this yearly recap, with my 5th workout of my 5-day workout program, Arm Day. Now, my 5-day workout program has a dedicated arm day. I'll link a video or a couple of videos to that describe my 4-day workout program and my 5-day workout program, so you'll have a better idea what I'm talking about when I mention a 5-day or a 4-day workout program in regards to my workouts. This was a sweet year. I got a lot done. I might have gotten a little chubbier than I wanted to, but we're going to fix that this year. We're going to do a little leaning up. I got a lot out of it. I hope you guys and gals got a lot out of it. I've had a good time with this, and it was a lot of work, but I think it was all worth it. Thank you for joining me. Alrighty, there it was. That was kind of fun. That was a lot of recording hours to sort through and put that together, but I enjoyed it. And again, thank you so very much for being along with me. I just can't overemphasize how much I appreciate it. Thank you, each and every one. And I do appreciate it. This has been a hoot. I've had a good time. It's been an interesting year. I've morphed from more of a strength-based program to a more of a bodybuilding type program, and I never anticipated doing that. That's just the way I am. We'll see what next year brings. Never know. We'll see how it goes. So, stick around. Keep coming back for more, just to see what this old guy's up to. And speaking of that, if you would at this point, hit that like button for me. That'd be great. And if you haven't, please consider clicking the subscribe button for more of this kind of content, and follow along with this old guy. Tell your friends, keep coming back, and click that subscribe button. With that, I will say thank you again. More to follow. This has been a hoot. I'm having a blast. So, until next time, go get 'em. Mark out.